Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about axles. More specifically, I want to talk about some tips for single axles. Single axles mark a new chapter of your skating journey. Usually, single jumps are attained relatively fast and are all kind of similar, and it goes by super fast. So you progress from wall jumps to all the way to single lutz relatively fast. Then you're gonna start working on single axles and double jumps, which there is quite a big gap. So don't be discouraged if you are working on single axles and it's not working out right away. Especially as you get older and if you started skating as an adult, working on single axles is quite the challenge. So today I want to talk about some of the tips that hopefully will help you on your axle journey. First, what I find super important is to work on off ice. Working on your physical readiness will ultimately help you so much for any jump and very much so for your doubles, but also for triple jumps. I highly encourage for you to start having a good routine, including off ices, into your weekly routine. I like to do 3 off ices a week. That really helps me so much for my jumps on the ice. When you're working on the floor, I would suggest for you to work on building all the muscle groups that are used in skating. And when you're done with that, you can have a section where you're working on single axles on the floor. I like to break it down into doing waltz jumps on the floor, then doing waltz jumps into an imitated back scratch spin, and then going for the full axle jump. By doing so, you are really solidifying your technique. You can work on these technical aspects that you then would work on the ice later on. The same thing goes to working on axles on the ice. I would recommend to work on axles in the same manner by first doing waltz jumps, then working on waltz jumps into a back scratch spin, waltz jumps with a single loop, working on waltz jumps into his back scratch spin and jumping out of it with a single loop. All this prep work really helps you gain that confidence and the comfortability for your axle. Another thing that I like to do is work on the checkout on its own. Before I would even work on axles, I would also work on reminding your body of your checkout position. Here is an exercise that I like to do. I jump up into the air and I land into my landing position, just really helping me solidify that landing position. If you do these exercises, here are some things that I would recommend for you to pay attention to. First of all, it would be your direction. And with that, I mean your movement of your free leg and your arms moving together into the same direction. You don't want your arms to move a different way and your legs to move a different way. You want them to move in harmony. So you're moving your free leg into direction of your jump, which is, to me, direction of the jump is an extension of the circle. So you do not want to jump into the circle, back into the circle. You don't want to jump outside of the circle. You just want to think of an extension of that circle. That means if you are working on axles from standstill, your circle is going to be smaller. So your radius of your circle is smaller. When you're working on it as you're skating with a little bit of speed, your circle, your radius expands. So you are having your direction is still leading onto the circle, but now your circle is a little bit bigger. I hope that makes sense. Those are things that I like to pay attention to. Is my free leg and my arm working together into the direction of my jump? From there, what I find super important is to really focus on that transfer. You don't want to just think of moving your arm and your leg into the direction, but then ultimately really doing that transfer from your standing leg onto your free leg. That is something so important. So you want to imagine that your movement of your jump is really going with the flow and you're not just staying behind in where you started jumping. When you're in your rotation position, another thing that I would recommend for you to think of is to activate your core. Preferably activate your core before you even start. Your core, it really helps you with your rotation position and staying on your axis. So if you let go of your core, you move around the axis rather than your body is the center. Then when it comes to the landing of your axle, pay attention that your opposite arm is in front of you when you land. You don't want to let go of that arm because that will just lead for you to just keep that rotation. By holding your arm in front, you will stop the rotation and you can land comfortably. Some tips that I would also give on for if you're working on single axles is to take a few steps back and also work on a lot of skating skills. If you're able to control your edges in skating skill drills, you will be able to control your edge also for your axle. That's something that sometimes we tend to overlook because we are already thinking of the jump and we're thinking of attaining all the jumps as fast as we can. But in order to do so, skating skills really lay out the foundation for your jump. So work on all the skating skills that you know and work on getting comfortable with holding your edges, with doing twizzles, with doing 3 turns. Just that will help you so much. I cannot stress that enough. That's something that I only learned later on in my skating journey, the importance of skating skills. But now that I know that, I will give it on to whoever just starts skating. Really focus on that and really invest the time in doing your skating skills. I will also come out with another skating skills video very soon, so please subscribe and stay tuned for that. So these are my tips for axles. I really hope they will help you. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do another video covering another jump. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.